Okay.
Oh my god.
See if you can get some semblance of order out there, please.
Wow.
You want me to provide more water?
You could at least been polite and called you
sorry?
miss, bitch.
You want me to get water?
The judge is angry.
No, I said order out there.
Order, okay.
I'll have a 12-piece McChugger meal.
Did you say sorry?
I'll have a Big Mac.
Yeah, if you want to get some order, I'll have a 12-piece McChugger meal.
Gentlemen and ladies, please have a seat.
Go on.
Close the door.
I'm sorry, officer.
Oh, I'll take care of that.
Is he done?
Am I the only one without air?
Did he go back in there? Alright.
That's it.
Right.
Is that dude taking a shit?
Would you like us to sit, sorry?
I do it. Everybody needs to stand.
Who is that guy at the back with the vest on?
Sir, did you just pull in a cushion?
I can hold it on my...
Zach.
Sorry?
Yeah.
I
Have
can
you
Judge,
no
before
more.
we get started, I just want to inform you that there's an officer out there by the name of Officer Cyrus that called me a bitch 2 times. Now that we-
Well, it's something you'll have to take up with him personally, I think.
Oh,
And they're
okay.
trying to beat you human rights.
Yeah, this is all the food and
I
water.
like the
on
sound of that.
Porn on.
Oh, me too.
Alright, is everyone here that needs to be here?
Before you start, Judge, can I just ask you a quick question?
Go ahead.
The guy in the red suit,
Hmm?
do you see a light on his head?
Nope.
The fuck?
It's only
I
you.
suggest you see a doctor, sir. You may be seeing things.
I think I better.
Been eating them mushrooms.
Oh, there's two. The doctor says it. I'm not crazy.
Yeah, I think if the doctor sees it, then you're definitely fucked.
Yeah, I don't see any light.
Alright, folks, be seated. Alright, now,
Where's the marshal gone?
it's a very good question, actually.
Apologies, I was thinking that. I said it out loud.
Yes, well, you said it now, so where is he?
You can hear him mumbling outside.
Well, he's no good to man or beast outside. Get him in here, please.
I'm completely untethered from them, Your Honour, so...
Okay, if the bailiff's ready. First of all, 28 minutes late. Is there any particular reason for that delay?
Who?
This whole proceeding is starting 28 minutes late. It was
You
slated
can
to...
blame the officers out front harassing people.
Your Honour, if I can be blunt about it, we waited for... We always have to wait for the judge to be ready before we proceed with anything, and you did arrive around 2 minutes before the court date was supposed to start. That would have given us 2 minutes to get everyone in and sorted.
And it takes half an hour to get everybody searched for weapons and brought up here.
After you got in and 5 minutes after that, I stepped away. I was off duty. That was obviously passed on to someone else, but that's all I can say. To get in on time, you'd have given us 2 minutes.
Judge, I'm gonna be blunt and tell you what happened. Officer Myers out front stole everybody's water and food, and if the whole courtroom will back me on this and tell them what they were doing, they were harassing us, and then he ate our food in front of us and laughed at us.
That's
Is that
right.
right, court?
Yep, there were
Yeah,
attempting to
that's
remove
right.
beverages and food from us, the civilians.
And he's eating
Alright,
it and
alright,
laughing
alright,
at us.
alright. We'll deal with that after we've dealt with the cases that are actually on the docket at the moment.
Okay, well, you was
So-
asking why it's taking so long, so I just
Right.
explained.
Well, as I explained to the officers when I arrived at the court, we are on a tight schedule. I was held up by traffic, so, you know, I obviously am partly to blame myself, but it doesn't take half an hour to get this many people sorted out and into the courtroom.
It's them.
So, first case on the docket is case, I believe, 147565. This is Sister Mary versus CLPD as a whole, specifically Officers Myers and Cyrus. It is alleged on the 23rd of February this year, Sister Mary was arrested and pleaded not guilty. She was provided with evidence that apparently did not link her to the crimes that she was being charged of. Is that about the length and breadth of it, Sister Mary?
That sounds right.
Okay. So, we're gonna try this. Sister Mary, if you could just come stand over here, please. And Officer Wong, if you'd like to come and swear her in, please.
Alright, ma'am, say after me. I do solemnly, sincerely, and truly declare.
I do solemnly and truly declare.
And affirm that the testimony
And
I
affirm
shall
that the
give
testimony that I shall give
shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
shall be the whole truth and nothing but the truth and the whole truth.
Truth? Okay, that's fine.
Okay, that's fine.
Alright, Your Honor.
Okay, Sister Mary, if you could, for the record, just give us a description of what happened that day.
Well, I got arrested for something I didn't do, more or less, and they didn't provide evidence. They thought that whatever they provided was evidence, had to throw me in jail. And I could go ahead and tell you, I was trying to call them and report my car stolen the whole time. I got evidence of that, and their phones wasn't on. They wasn't answering the Twitter when I was answering them. And I finally went down there to get some belongings or something, and they arrested me and said that they had evidence, which they didn't. So, pretty much, that sums it up.
Okay, and I'll address this to PD as a whole, since you're both representing PD at the moment. What were the crimes that she was being accused of?
Bear with me, Your Honor.
Oh, the CD being represented by two people?
It would seem that that's the case at the moment.
Make sure I'm going to be reading from the correct crime report here. Sorry. So the crime report, just for your record, Your Honour, is crime report 4448 between officers Cyrus and Myers, and the charges.
Okay.
The charges were labelled as accessory to attempted murder, 1 times association of crime, 1 times CLPD restricted zone, 1 times disruption of property, disorderly conduct, rifle license being revoked, threatening behaviour, and an unholstered weapon.
Okay, and what was the total time that she was given for this?
Me, Your Honour.
One hour and 38 minutes, I think.
I believe it's jail report 3210. The total jail time would be 1 hour, sorry.
1 hour and
Just 1
38
hour
minutes.
straight, or?
No, 1 hour and 38 minutes, Your Honor.
Sorry, yes. So it's jail report 3210 and warrant 4448.
Okay, and again, confirm that that was 1 hour 38 minutes. It's pretty difficult to tell which one is which one are you speaking when you're both speaking at the same time.
Yes, that's correct. Sorry, Your Honour.
Okay. And of this time, how much time did she serve?
According to the record, it states that she served an hour's jail time.
No.
That would be to the record, Your Honor.
Okay, Sister Mary, do you have any evidence to the contrary of how much time you actually did serve? You seem to be in disagreement with the PD at the moment.
Let me look real fast. I think I have it. Oh, no, it'll take too long. I know we're on a tight schedule. Nah. It'll take too long to bring that up, and I know we're on a tight schedule, but I serve. Yeah, if they have it on record, whatever.
Okay, so we'll go through and go by the PD record on this. Now, PD, do you have the evidence that you provided to Sister Mary to support this incarceration?
We do, Your Honor. If I may bring something to your attention about the case.
Okay.
I may be misunderstood, but by both of us reading the case request here today, Sister doesn't state in any way that she wishes to actually sue us as the CLPD for her mistreatment. She states that she feels she was mistreated. However, she wants to sue the CLPD for the fact that she believes that the officers don't have any higher ranks to go to. Just what I want to state, that the fact that that is what the actual.
Okay. Well, I'm reading the court request. I'm reading the court request at the moment, and I see that the last sentence in that request reads, "I will be suing the CLPD as a whole. The money I will be suing for will be determined in a few days after I get the therapy, and much more for all of this."
That was another part, Your Honor. Is
that was read from the.
I'll hold my second thought, Your Honor, until it comes to it.
Yeah, that was read from the court request for this case that we're hearing now.
Yes, Your Honor.
So
it's the same one that I'm reading from.
Right. So for that amount, I assume, Sister Mary, that you'll be wanting to call a medical professional to give us an evaluation of your medical fees.
No, Your Honor. I took some medication on my own. I never did get evaluated. But I'm just going to be suing them, not for the medical evaluation, just for my time being in court. And I want the officers punished harshly.
Okay.
Your Honor.
What?
This was what I was trying to bring to your attention, is that from our interpretation, the case was brought forward to sue us for a completely separate reason, for the fact that they feel that there are that this lady here feels that there was no higher ranking officers for her or the other officers to go to.
Not sure what you're reading, but I'm suing because I got thrown in jail.
Not what she's claiming for now, which would suggest that she's suing for a different reason than what she had originally requested.
Yeah, I'm suing because I got locked up under false accusations and no evidence. I got falsely arrested. That's what the whole damn case was about.
But, Your Honor, that's what I'm mentioning. That is mentioned briefly in a sentence, but as she says, the thing she's suing for is, as I can read exactly here, I'll be suing the CLPD as a whole since there's two officers have no higher ranking officer to go to when they come across situations like this. She doesn't state in the request that she's suing us for any other reason.
Oh, it sounds like Your Honor, it sounds like they know they done lost this. They're just worried about how much money's going to come out of their ass.
Well, the way I read it...
Just here for a fair trial, Your Honor.
The way I read it, basically, I pleaded not guilty because I knew I couldn't be tied to those awful crimes. And basically does state that the evidence that she was given did not tie her to those crimes.
Not denying that, Your Honor.
That would be my interpretation of that would be that is exactly what she has come to court for, because she was given evidence that did not tie her to the crimes.
Well, Your Honour, I'm not denying the fact that she states that in the request, but she's explicitly stated why she's here and what she's here to sue for, and she would therefore be changing her
Well,
request.
that's your interpretation of it, but my interpretation of it is that that sentence means that she's suing the CLPD as a whole, as opposed to suing those two officers individually, because they didn't have anyone to advise them on that particular situation.
If that's how you feel, Your Honour, I'm sure you know it all.
Oh, wow.
Now,
That's how we feel.
with regards to the evidence that was provided to Sister Mary, I would still like to see that.
Then please hold. Make sure I get the right crime report again. We'll start with the images then, Your Honour.
Okay. You can just send them to my phone.
We also have a synopsis for the actual for the crime itself, which helps label a bit more about what these images do actually show.
Okay. Well, you can read the synopsis while I'm looking at the images.
Sure. It's a little bit detailed, so if you need me to pause at any moment or you've heard enough, just let us know. So it starts with stating that prior to this event, this is stating how Sister Mary's, there's a little bit before, so if you need us for that, just let us know, but this is the bit that states exactly where Sister Mary herself is connected to the events. Prior to these events, we received a call about a kidnapping of an EMT by Sister Mary. Officer Cyrus had at least 2 drones in the area, and one of them located said victim and Sister Mary and the other gentleman to our left here in Georgetown's church. The officer that placed the report, which was Myers, Recruit Cyrus, and myself at the time, attempted to pull over a white Escalade. The 3 people were in Regina. Upon being ordered to step out of the vehicle, they then drove off, continued, and we chased them up to Lammy. That was where we had a discussion. And at this time, Recruit Cyrus had a drone following the sister. The drone kept following. And as the video evidence which shows, which we've also got here, the drone followed the MH9 digital, which is shown in the first image, helicopter towards the main airport.
Okay.
The drone kept following. At the airport, 5 occupants left the helicopter into different vehicles. Sister Mary switched into the white Escalade. The same they were being pulled over in Lammy, so it was the same Escalade earlier. Sister Mary picked up the gentleman to the left at the retail park, where she switched her clothing to the regular female clothing with a black jacket and a skirted outfit. Sister Mary and the gentleman and one other person then drove to Georgetown location to the Twin Towers building at the coordinates of 049098. This entire time we followed with a drone. The reporting officer and Recruit Cyrus then drove to Georgetown to specified location and attempted to apprehend and approach the suspects. They drove away before we could continue. The white Escalade then drove to the nearby CLPD HQ. We're in the bushes. The white Escalade dropped Sister Mary. According to the evidence, Sister Mary was trying to call the CLPD just before we drove into Georgetown, but our phones were not working at the time. According to her statements, multiple vehicles of hers got stolen. The vehicles were the same ones used in the shootings at the CLPD, a lime green yellow Cadillac Escalade, and the digital MH9 helicopter, which was the one that's shown in the screenshot, also used in this crime report. Sister Mary did show up at the CLPD, and that was where she was apprehended and arrested and charged.
Sounded like he left a bunch out, Your Honor.
Oh, we'll have you fill in the gaps in a minute. Officer Pickering, you said you had the a video as well.
Yes, Your Honor. There's a collection of videos here.
Okay, if you just walk us through the videos as well.
Yeah, I'll go one by one because there's a lot of them where they're just time-stamped.
Okay.
First evidence here, Your Honor, is showing the yellow vehicle that is circling around the PD. This is the part above the crime report, which I mentioned that we can go into more detail if you wish, but wasn't able to specifically tie in Sister Mary here.
Okay.
Section, so I'm getting the right evidence here for you. Second evidence here is a gentleman, a lady there in that, in the nun's outfit, then attempting to stop that vehicle moments after disabling 2 drones within PD with a
Objection, Your
shotgun.
Honor. I'm not sure why he says a gentleman and a lady. I'm not sure if they could identify the sex of that person.
Well, that's why I mentioned gentleman or lady. Just
you said lady?
stating
Oh,
that
no,
that person, that person that exited that vehicle, as you can see, shot the 2 drones outside that yellow vehicle. That's just what that evidence shows there.
Okay. Give me a moment to just view that one again.
Sure, Your Honor. I'll just get the next ones. Next one's there and ready for you.
It's a lime SUV. It was Sister Mary in a lime SUV just parked outside PD now.
Okay, so during that clip, an officer was heard to identify Sister Mary by name.
Which one, Your Honor? The second one?
The second clip, yes, where
Sure.
The drones were disabled.
Yep.
An officer was heard to identify her by name. How did they come to that conclusion?
Whereabouts, Your Honor? In the video?
Mary in a lime SUV.
It's around about
just parked outside PD now.
28. If you run it from 28 seconds, you'll hear that.
Oh yeah, I see that, Your Honor.
And how did the officer come to the conclusion it was Sister Mary and not another nun?
Just quickly, I'm not entirely sure on where that assumption came from. If I can fill you in with the previous noted description here of the case, which fills in a little bit more information on what these videos themselves show. But for that, I can't answer that, I'm afraid.
It sounds like, Your Honor, from when I spoke with our clients, that it possibly was because the drone had been following her from the start of the incident, where she... Again, this is the information that was given to me. I can try and get that clarified, but the drone had been following from the start. So
during the time that the drone was following the suspect, did any identifying evidence come to light?
I would have to ask our clients.
Okay, please do.
Alright.
And while you do that, I'm going to look at the third video here. Mr. Pickering, would you like to walk me through this?
So this video evidence here shows the digital camouflaged MH9. This was one of the vehicles that, according to the crime report, was stated as stolen by Sister Mary when she attempted to report it through. The drone shows the helicopter landing just outside of the CLPD HQ, picking up the same person that the previous evidence showed had just driven off after shooting those drones. This was moments after. Lands, and that person is seen running to that heli, and you see the evidence ends past that. But the heli is then, as you can see at the very end, taken back off.
Okay.
It'd be
Outside.
beneficial, Your Honour, if I was to briefly read the extra incident summary, which is about this little part.
I'm a little confused, Your Honor, if I may say something.
Okay.
They brought up some kidnapping earlier, which I wasn't even charged for kidnapping, and they're just, it seems like they're, you know what, I'll just let them keep talking, because it sounds like they're just trying to fool us, because they brought up me kidnapping somebody, which I didn't do, and I didn't even be charged with kidnapping. So, I'd like to know what that little, why this, Mr. Ronnie would accuse me of kidnapping someone when I wasn't even charged with kidnapping someone.
Okay. Mr. Pickering, if you could continue, please.
Yeah. So, the extra incident summary, this is the bit that was just before what I read before. While we were up to the CLPD HQ investigating an EMT kidnapping, and as it states, I'll repeat that, investigating, a lime green yellow Escalade turned up near the back of the courtyard. A person dressed in a nun outfit wearing a mask stepped out of the vehicle armed and shot 2 drones we had outside. Officer Cyrus attempted to shoot the tyres of the said vehicle and failed. Soon after, and then it moves on to stating that soon after we started getting shot on from the surroundings. Myself and Recruit Cyrus equipped ourselves with ETU gear and started defending. We then received a threat via the 141, which revealed the name hashtag. Soon after, an MH9 digital helicopter turned up. The helicopter had 3 people on the skids, 2 people inside. In an exchange of fire, we both got wounded, and I shot one of the helicopter occupants. After the MT provided first aid, we re-equipped, and while we were inside, a Ghost Hawk helicopter showed up. We soon heard multiple explosions on top of the CLPD and one in front. That is where the written evidence stops, and we moved back onto the bit I read out the first time.
Okay, and again, during all this time, was Sister Mary positively identified?
Your Honor, I would like to cross-examine Sister Mary here, if you wouldn't mind, in regards to what was just brought up to me by our clients.
Well, I would like an answer to the question I just asked.
The answer is yes and no, depending. Well, yes and no.
Well, it can't be both. It's got to be one or the other.
During this, I'll tell you what I was just told. During this incident, Sister Mary was believed to have been talking with an EMT. We made a traffic stop on her Escalade, and she got out as one of the operators of the vehicle along with an EMT. Everyone at the scene was referring to the lady dressed in a nun's outfit as Sister Mary. She identified herself as Sister Mary verbally, and also during that incident, she never said she was not Sister Mary. She was spoken to multiple times as Sister Mary. She was referred to as Sister Mary, and the EMT also identified her as Sister Mary that she was with. We did not get a photo identification off of her, but like I said, that's was considered our a positive identification.
If I may say, they're talking about a whole different incident, Your Honor. About
Your Honor, this is where the drone.
I was never charged with kidnapping. Why are we talking
correct?
About
No. Your Honor, the Sister Mary. This is the time when Sister Mary's talking about, which she just obviously said she was involved in. That is when the drone started following her. From that second on, the drone never lost sight of her. So therefore, if she admits that that was her in that vehicle that was stopped, then that is positively identifying her and tying her to the rest of it here.
Sir, prove
bullshit.
Show the drone following that EMT. Listen here, Your Honor. I'm going to be
Right,
honest
if you give me
with
one
the court.
second, I'll get you the
I'm going to be
timestamp from
honest
the.
with the court here. I'm a mean bitch sometimes, and I get a little crazy. And I spend a lot of time down at the CLPD, and I admit to all the crimes I do. Well, there's this one instance I didn't do a crime.
Officer Cyrus, can you
pleaded
send
not
me
guilty
the
because I
tentative
wasn't
stamp
guilty.
of where that video starts following her from that
They're
traffic
trying to
stop?
bring two different instances into one, and they did not identify me one time. They assumed, Your Honor. Assumed.
Your Honor, she,
Alright,
I'm going to be getting you...
Just one moment, Mr. Hoven.
Yep.
Now, hang on a second. The moment that the drone started following her.
Correct.
Alright, or started following this suspect.
Mm-hmm.
She had been out of the car. And
Correct.
I assume talking to an officer who supplied that screenshot?
3 officers, Your Honor.
3 officers. And was she at that,
two or three.
Was she at that point suspected of a crime?
The suspect of an investigation at that time.
All right, and was she questioned during that time, or?
Questions were asked during that time. She was not detained for further investigation. We wanted to continue our investigation and not impede any evidence we may have gotten as of yet, to conclude the investigation first before we had more evidence.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I just want to be shown where you link me to these murders and attempted murders and associations.
That's what I'm getting.
Okay.
Here too. Once I can prove to you that the drone started following you or I should say, Sister Mary, from that traffic stop on, it will be very clear from start to finish that drone stays on her the entire time, and can prove that even though from the sky we cannot see a plate or a face, that since it started from that traffic stop and followed her from that traffic stop all the way until she showed up at PD, it indeed was her that committed those crimes. At no point did that drone lose a visual of her. Therefore, tying from the time we had investigation
when I got arrested that the drone did lose visual.
Right, Sister Mary. Just one question. Was it or was it not you at that traffic stop?
The traffic stop with the EMT that went along with the ride? Yes, of course.
Okay. So if this new evidence does indeed show that the drone never lost sight of you,
they couldn't show me no evidence like this when I got arrested.
I believe this was the evidence you were provided. It was up to you to
Oh no, I
look
was
through
not
it.
provided no evidence that showed a drone following that me being pulled
Sister,
over.
apparently the officers told you to sit down and watch the whole video, the entire 4-hour video, and you refused to do so.
I did that when I was in behind bars, and I specifically told them that I showed them that it didn't follow me. I remember this clearly. It didn't follow.
Okay, well just give me a minute, and I'm waiting for that evidence to be sent to me here. So.
Oh, well, you should be
ready.
Can
I get a ETA on that video?
You should be ready. I was done showing this evidence. This evidence was bogus. It didn't follow from that scene the whole time until I was arrested. You get ready to waste the court's time.
Check your mic.
Your Honor, he's getting ready to waste the court's time, and I've done seen this evidence. It wasn't evidence. It didn't follow that particular stop to the time I got arrested. Plain and simple.
Your Honor, while we're waiting, is there any other questions you'd like to ask in the meantime?
I have
an estimated time of 2 minutes until it's ready.
Why don't you have it ready?
Because
why we're here at court today to show evidence.
Your Honor, with as much respect as we can give, the sister also lacked certain evidence you asked for, and also would have taken time to get it. So some respect to us would be nice.
I don't need evidence. You guys need to provide me evidence of me supposed to be linked to the crime. I don't need to prove
you
no
were
evidence.
you were asked for evidence, and it would have taken you time to supply it. So
I don't need
ours has got
to
this
supply
is taking
evidence
supply
of
time.
my innocence. You understand me? You need to provide evidence I was guilty, and you never did it. You're wasting the court's time right now.
And if you remember, Mr. Pickering, that evidence was apparently going to show that she spent 38 minutes more in jail than you said she did, and as a result of her not being able to find that evidence, we've gone along with what your officers' reports have said.
It's not that we can't find it, Your Honor. It's that it's continuously buffering on our iPads here for some reason. Seems that the courthouse's Wi-Fi network is taking longer than expected.
Yeah.
Or is there anything we can move on to, Your Honor?
Sounds like I just got it here, Your Honor.
Come back to when it's there.
Okay, hang on a second, Mr. Hoven.
Just stand by 1 second. I will be sending it to the court. That is the link to the video. I'm trying to get to the exact timestamp if you give me 1 second.
You're going to say that this evidence, which I've already seen, shows me from that traffic stop at the ENT all the way to when I got arrested.
Your Honor, skip to 2 hours and 21 minutes. From that time until the arrest, the drone is watching that vehicle. From the time that they leave that traffic stop, if you skip to 2 hours and about 22 minutes and 30 seconds, you can see the drone itself following the vehicle.
Well, it don't follow me the whole damn time. I watched this while I was locked up under false accusations.
It follows from start to arrest, Your Honor.
No, it doesn't.
Apparently, we had a total of 3 drones in the air following 3 separate suspects, one of them being Sister, but this one does indeed follow her from start till finish.
And how many officers were monitoring these drones?
2 officers, I believe, Your Honor.
Do you expect me to believe that 2 officers manning 3 drones managed to track 3 separate targets for an entire duration?
Yes, Your Honor. There's multiple ways of manning multiple drones at a single time, and like I said, some of the drones don't need to be currently being monitored. You know, we only needed to monitor the important ones, where at the time were Sister Mary and one other subject. The drone in question at this time. Obviously, the drone in question at this time is the one that's following Sister, so.
Just skip through there, Your Honor. You'll see that it doesn't track that vehicle the whole time. You're lying.
If you skip to 4 hours and 4... Are you telling me to be quiet, Your Honor? Or...
I'm just trying to clear up some confusion at the moment.
Okay, I have a timestamp for you if you'd like.
Just one moment. I'm waiting for the camera to lock onto the vehicle. As I'm now at 2 hours 22 minutes, and it has not done so yet.
bullets were fired. Not yet. Wouldn't fire at someone unless it
Your Honor, can I say something?
required.
Your Honor, whenever you're ready to, I've got timestamps for you for additional things.
There,
for the
there shouldn't
defense.
be no timestamps. Clearly said it's locked on to me the whole time when it clearly isn't in the video. I done seen this.
Well, I'm showing that's what the timestamps are to show that even hours later it is still indeed locked on to you.
Okay, well, I'm watching and watching and watching. I'm still waiting for this drone to lock onto the target.
We're not here to talk about how we operate. You can feel free to talk to us any other time at the station and can explain things to you.
I see it locking onto a helicopter taxi.
This EMT, we were told by...
I'm at 2 hours and 37 minutes and it don't even show a drone. You guys are crazy. You're wasting the court's time here. This is exactly what I explained to those two officers when they threw me behind bars. They didn't link me to this so-called crime.
Well, I'd like to know why I'm now almost 4 minutes past the initial timestamp you gave me, and the only thing that the drone has taken any interest in has been an air taxi.
Judge, why don't you go to 2 hours and 38 minutes and take a look at that?
Your Honor, if you also skip to 3 hours and 54 minutes and 40
but you're
seconds.
missing a whole. You're missing a whole hour.
I'm very confused here because you gave me a timestamp when you said that the drone had locked on to Sister Mary's vehicle.
That is what was provided to me, Your Honor. That would have to be directed directly to one of the officers if you'd like to call one of them to the stand to answer those questions.
You're the one fighting for him.
I'm the one. Me and Officer Pickering are representing the CLPD.
Sounds like you need to get your shit together.
We are here on behalf of CLPD command staff who isn't able to make it here today.
Okay, is Officer Cyrus busy at the moment?
Officer Cyrus, are you available to be called to the stand?
I go have a seat, Your Honor.
Take a seat, Miss Mary.
Of course, thank you. You see that goofy evidence?
Good day.
Crazy cops.
You asked for me?
Officer Cyrus, the moment you questioned me about is at 2 hours, 24 minutes, 38 seconds. If you wanted to look at that, that's in regards to the taxi comment they made. So if you could shed
Officer
some light on
Cyrus,
that while up on the stand.
You could just hop up on the stand for me, please. Mr. Wong?
2 hours, 20...
Just before you say anything further, Officer Cyrus, Mr. Wong's going to swear you in.
Yep. Say after me. I do solemnly, sincerely, and truly declare.
I do. Take it again, slowly.
I do solemnly, sincerely, and truly declare.
And
sincerely and truly declare.
Sincerely and truly declare.
And affirm that the testimony I shall give.
Affirm the testimony I should give.
Shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing more.
Yeah. All right, Your Honor.
Okay, Mr. Cyrus, I believe you're the one that provided the evidence that I'm currently looking at.
Yes.
At what point during that evidence did your drone lock on to the vehicle that apparently was carrying Sister Mary? Because
From
because
when they left the church in Georgetown.
And what timestamp would that be? Well, hang on a second. From when they left the church in Georgetown. Was this before or after the traffic stop? Where
it was like 2 minutes or 3 minutes before the traffic stop when we heard that the EMT was kidnapped.
Okay. And at what point did that? At what point in this video does the footage show Sister Mary getting back into that vehicle and leaving the scene of the traffic stop?
Give me a second.
They don't have that.
Your Honor,
Sister Mary?
we could end this court, this docket number real fast. All you got to do is go through there a few times and just watch that drone does not follow me from that time I was pulled over to the time that I got arrested. All you got to do is skim through there and see that it doesn't track me and where I was, and this court case can be over. Easy. It's three.
Remember, it's 3 different drones following different people.
Where's all the video?
Yeah. So
well, watch the 4 hours and you will see.
Was it that drone? Well, all I'm interested in at the moment is the timestamp where it shows you locking that drone onto the vehicle containing Sister Mary.
First is 2 hours, now 3.
Oh, give me a second. Go to 2 hours, 8 minutes, 7 seconds. That's where they are on the top of the...
We done past that part.
All right, no.
That's from there. It's locked on.
Oh, there we go again.
Well, that's not the... this is the thing. All right, I'm not asking at what point you locked onto her. I'm asking at what timestamp does your evidence show Sister Mary getting into that vehicle and leaving the scene of that traffic stop?
They don't have that.
Well, Myers has it.
Well, if Officer Myers has it, then it's not the video that I'm looking at, is it?
Oh, Your Honor, there is her getting into that video. Hold on, in that video, there is her getting into that car and leaving the scene.
When I come to court, I'm always prepared.
And what's the timestamp on that?
I'm pulling it up right now. 20 minutes, 38 seconds. Or 2:20:30. 38, I believe. Actually, hold on. There's going to be a correction
add up
on that.
here.
I know, there's going to be a correction. Hold on.
I'm going to object, Your Honor. I'm sorry, but it was stated I was trailed from the time I was pulled over to the time I got arrested. No evidence they have shows what they're trying to say. It's easy. All you got to do is go through the video. It's not there. Case closed.
Go to 2:21:20. Watch from there. That's the.
I've already been past I've already been past 2:21:20.
Right, that's the traffic stop where.
Right, and right. So hang on. Let's go back to 2:21:20 here, because at that point, hang on. Okay, let's view this from 221.10, just so I don't miss anything.
Why does he have his hands up?
You don't have to have your hands up.
Sorry, there's a lot of guns around here.
There's 221.20. I'm confused by what I'm supposed to be seeing here.
It's not a lethal weapon. There's nothing.
Because at 221.20, from 221.10 to 221.30, it is showing from the view from the ground of the traffic stop. Is that what you're seeing at that timestamp, Mr. Hoven?
By the way, the taxi you were talking about, that's Charles.
Okay, well, that's got no bearing on this case at all at the moment, Mr. Cyrus. Basically, what I was trying to get at was the fact that I was given a timestamp in your video to show you locking on, apparently locking on to the vehicle carrying Sister Mary, and I'd watched for several minutes after that, and the first vehicle that your drone took any interest in was an air taxi. Right? It was
My
not,
drone
it
is
was
already locked on. Signs Georgetown. I don't need to
not
relock
in,
it when it's
yeah,
already
but the
locked
thing
on.
is, your evidence is not showing the footage from that drone.
It shows it if you look at the evidence from the
From where?
Georgetown that 3 different drones following different people.
Right. And are your drone? Are your
One
drones?
of them.
Let me ask you this, Mr. Cyrus: are your drones locked onto vehicles or people?
They can lock on both vehicle and people.
But are they locked onto vehicles or people?
They are locked on both people and vehicles.
Right. So the drone that the drone that you locked on to Sister Mary's vehicle, while it was at when it was at Georgetown.
Yes, and it continued.
Did that drone lock onto the vehicle or onto Sister Mary specifically as a person?
Exactly. In Georgetown, it was locked on.
I'm asking you a
Mr.
question. It was locked onto Mr. Hag.
Yeah, what we found out later on to be Mr. Hag.
And for that time, that drone remained locked onto Mr. Hag. Is that correct?
One of them, yes.
Right. What were the other drones doing?
One following Charles, one following the vehicle and Sister.
Right. So one was locked onto Mr. Marley, and one was locked onto Sister Mary's vehicle, not Sister Mary's person. Am I correct?
Yes.
Right. So we got that cleared up. All right. Now, where in your evidence, right, that I'm looking at the moment, does it show Sister Mary getting into that vehicle and leaving that traffic stop? And please don't give me
You
any
cannot see that from my video. You can see it from Mike Myers, who was on the ground.
And I assume he was also controlling drones.
Nope, he was on the ground talking.
He was on right. So was that evidence?
As you can see, I'm sitting in the back seat.
Yeah. Was Mr. Myers' evidence given to Sister Mary when she requested evidence as part of her non-guilty plea?
That you have to ask him. I was not in that room.
Your Honor, all the evidence that was given was this video that we're seeing that supposedly locked on to me from that traffic stop to the time I got arrested. No evidence was ever shown to me from the time I got pulled over with the EMT. We was going out when we went out to dinner. That when I got arrested, they have no evidence. This case is dragging on and wasting everybody's time.
You're welcome to watch the 4 hours.
All you gotta do is skim through it.
I'm not
and
interested
see that it
in
don't
the 4
track me.
hours.
I'm not
What I'm looking for, all right, is evidence that ties Sister Mary, who had been identified at the traffic stop. All right, we know that it was Sister Mary at the traffic stop, but what we don't know, because we're not seeing it in any of the evidence yet so far submitted to the court, is that the drones had continuous, unobstructed followage and tracking of Sister Mary.
There is no evidence.
Quiet, please. And to this, I'm addressing this to the CLPD, because at this moment, this is dragging on for far too long. I have asked for specific evidence. I haven't even been provided with it. Mr. Pickering?
Just to state for your reference, we've both, myself and Hoven, we were called in at the very last minute to take this case. The evidence that has been listed on this jail report, which by procedure, and I cannot confirm whether it was 100% or not, though all the evidence listed on the jail report would have been shown to Sister Mary here. Part of that evidence is from Officer Myers.
Okay.
A full 3 hours of evidence from him. That is something we have as part of the jail report. Officer Myers is around today. That is also available.
Only evidence ever shown to me was Mr. Cyrus's evidence. Period.
Like I say, Your Honor, we're just here to defend the CLPD. We asked these officers the questions of whether they followed the SOP guidelines for the detention and processing procedures. They both at the time, which was today, this question was asked, confirmed it. And we just have the list of evidence on this jail report / crime report that we are going by.
Okay, and when Sister Mary requested to see the evidence against her, can you confirm what evidence she was given and what was not given? Because if you can't, then I have to take Sister Mary's word for what she was
Your Honor,
actually
that's
shown.
not something that I can answer. I've asked these two officers whether the procedures were followed, and if they stated yes, both of them, in which case all of the evidence in the jail and crime reports would have been shown. That's as much as we, who were called in at the very last minute, can say about that.
Okay, Mr. Cyrus, you can return to duty. Can we get Officer Myers in here, please?
Officer Myers, can you make the courtroom?
He's here already. Very fetching pink belt.
Gay!
Quiet, please.
Alright, say after me. I do solemnly and sincerely and truly declare.
I do solemnly, sincerely and truly declare.
And affirm that the testimony I shall give.
And affirm that the testimony I shall give.
Shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Shall be the truth.
The whole truth.
The whole truth and nothing but the truth.
Yep. Okay, Your Honor.
Okay. Mr. Myers.
Yes, Your
Can
Honor.
you confirm to me whether or not Sister Mary was shown your point of view of this entire situation when she requested the evidence against her?
Your Honor, I wouldn't put anything else in the report that I wouldn't have shown. So I confirm that.
I can show you where I was only shown one video, Mr. Cyrus's. And here's another thing, Mr. Your Honor. I was shown only one video. I looked at it and laughed at it. All right? There was no evidence. Mr. Myers linked me to Cyrus's video. That's what he did. He didn't link me to his own video. So, now that we got that out of the way, Mr. Myers' video, so whatever video they put in since then, that still won't track me because I didn't commit no crime. Period. Let him show it. It doesn't track me. And I'll show you the video of me sitting in jail only seeing one piece of evidence.
Your Honor, can I ask one question?
Go ahead.
Then how would you explain that the person we've been following for 3 hours ends up as being Sister Mary at CLPD?
How
do you explain that? That's one question.
You didn't track me from the traffic stop, period. No one did.
That's not what
That's
evidence
what you're
shows.
here to prove.
All right. Does your evidence show, both yourself and Mr. Cyrus's evidence together, does that show a continuous and unbroken tracking of Sister Mary? As
Yes,
a
Your
person,
Honor.
not her vehicle, but as a person.
Yes, Your Honor. I am more than 100% certain that what evidence we have and what the evidence shows is exactly following Sister Mary.
Ah, show it.
All right. Well, let's see it.
All right.
I've got the link here for it, Your Honor.
Okay.
After you show me this link, and it still doesn't show, I'm going to show you where I was only shown one video. And I got arrested.
The link that Mr. Pickern just posted, I just want to say that this is back at the CLPD well after the incident.
Yeah.
Okay, have you got a timestamp for when you actually started following the vehicle?
Well, the only one who was following the vehicle was Mr. Cyrus with the drones.
Dear Lord.
But I have the video, the part that shows her getting into the white Escalade at the traffic stop, if that's...
Okay, so here's what's bugging me about this. And I mean really bugging me at this point. Because as I'm looking through your evidence, I see the traffic stop. And sure enough, as has already been admitted by Sister Mary, she did get in that vehicle and leave that traffic stop. What I am not seeing at any point in your evidence is any drone footage. Now, am I to understand from this that Officer Cyrus was the only one with the drone, or the only one with control of the drones? That's correct, is it?
That's correct. He had 3 drones flying. 2 of them were following the suspect.
That's enough. Thank you, Mr. Myers. You can step down. Can we get Officer Cyrus back here again, please?
Cyrus to the courtroom.
Line under oath. All 4 of them.
Yep, you're the good one.
Now, Mr. Cyrus, I believe that you stated to the court that Officer Myers' evidence showed, in answer to my direct question, showed the drone that was tracking the drone footage from the drone that was tracking Sister Mary. Is that correct?
You asked me if I had evidence of her getting inside the vehicle.
I asked you at what point in your evidence, at what timestamp in your evidence, did it show Sister Mary getting into that vehicle and being tracked from that traffic stop by the drone?
Well, as I told you, I was locked on the vehicle since Georgetown.
It doesn't matter if you were locked on the vehicle.
Let me finish. When the traffic stop occurred, as I said, I was in the back of the seat controlling drone.
Yeah, I saw that.
He has the video of her jumping back in that vehicle. We just said he has the video.
But I've asked you several times now, and I'm going to start getting very frustrated if I don't get an answer to this question. At what timestamp in your video does it show your drone footage of Sister Mary leaving that traffic stop?
It's locked on it.
It doesn't matter if it's locked on it or not. It really doesn't matter if the drone is locked on the vehicle, because it's not locked onto a person. And if you can't prove that you had continuous and unbroken footage of the tracking of Sister Mary by that drone, then you've got no evidence.
Zach. Good mic, Zach.
Thank you. Hold on.
So I will ask one last time. At what point in your evidence, at what timestamp, does it show your drone footage tracking Sister Mary from that traffic stop?
Oh, let me give you again the link.
What's Trace doing?
They're on the top of the church in Georgetown.
All right, thank you.
How many there?
Seems to be 2 person upside on the roof of it. Unless it's zombies?
Do they appear to be armed at all?
Yeah, we have 2 guys armed. So this is the Mary. In a white Escalade.
Is it a white Escalade?
Yeah. It's a white vehicle.
Okay. Another question pops up. Just sifting through those links that Officer Pickering has just provided. When you locked on, or when you saw the 2 people on top of the church in Georgetown, and you watched them come down from the church and get into the white Escalade, at that point, I'm assuming is when you locked onto the white Escalade in the first place. How did
Yes.
you? How were you able to identify one of those people as Sister Mary?
Because from experience, whenever someone had been kidnapped and been taken to church, it's been usually her.
So basically, what you're saying is that you use profiling to identify who you thought was Sister Mary. You had no actual identifying evidence until you pulled until her vehicle was pulled over.
Yeah, pretty much. But
So,
finds no one dares to go to the church except her. Made that assumption.
That's not true.
So, quiet, please. So, at this point, at 2 hours 8 minutes and 32 seconds into your video, when you identify over the radio that Sister Mary has just gotten into a white Escalade, at that point again you had no identifying evidence of it actually being Sister Mary. Is that correct?
Pretty sure I said that on the radio too. That looks like her.
1 second.
By the main George.
Okay.
seems to be 2 person upside on the roof of it. Unless it's zombies?
Do they appear to be armed at all?
Yeah, we have 2 guys armed. So this is the Mary. In a white Escalade.
Is it a white Escalade?
Yeah. It's a white vehicle by the main George.
Okay.
Okay, so you clearly said on the radio at that point that you saw IC Systemary and a white Escalade with apparent full with apparent full confidence that it was her that was getting into that vehicle.
Pretty much.
So
was I wrong? No.
It doesn't matter whether you were wrong or not. What matters is what evidence did you have to support that, and moreover, why was the vehicle actually pulled over in the first place?
I can answer that, Your Honour.
Mr. Pickering?
We had a call over the bridge frequency from a fellow EMT. We went over there and spoke to them. That was when we were informed that he'd suspected that the EMT had been kidnapped. After, obviously, at this point, we had the tracking and stuff like that. That was why the vehicle was then pulled over. I was the person that spoke to Sister Mary at the time when she was outside the vehicle before getting back in. That was as far as I went before my shift shortly finished. After that, we, at that point, went with the notion that there was a potential hostage taking, but we just spoke to them
And
like
was this
a normal stop.
And was this before or after the tracking was put on the white Escalade by the drone?
That would have then been after, I believe, Your Honour.
So you were told by another EMT after the drone had started tracking Sister Mary's Escalade that somebody suspected that the EMT that was with Sister Mary had been kidnapped. Is that do I understand you correctly there?
I believe so, Your Honour. I was driving the vehicle at the time, so I wasn't communicating. I wasn't communicating through radio or anything like that. So any conversation through radio, any evidence, I would have only heard.
Actually, on the video it said before. So
take that, Ronnie.
So first comes the report about being kidnapped, and then we track them. You can see it in the video. Skip back 1 minute, you can hear it.
I haven't spoken in a while. Can I say one thing, please?
You're missing the sound of your own voice, Sister Mary.
What's that?
Are you missing the sound of your own voice?
Yeah, I just want to say one thing, Your Honor.
Okay.
I think I made this court case today because I was thrown in jail for assumptions only. They provided me no evidence. They provided me so-called evidence they thought I was guilty by assumption. No proven hardcore evidence, which they know. I plead guilty to crimes I commit all the time. Now, all we have to do is say, and we've already, I don't understand why we're so hung up on an EMT and that we're getting pulled over. All we should focus on is the time I left the traffic stop where me and Ronnie had a conversation to the time I got arrested. They have said at least 5 times in this court case, they have hardcore proof. They tracked me the whole time. They don't. It's been proven they don't.
Okay, well, I'll get to that in a moment, but okay. I'm just I'm interested in this this part of it.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Officer Cyrus, you said that the call about the suspected
I can talk to him when you need.
EMT came in before you started tracking the car?
Yeah, there was a message sent before about the kidnapped EMP.
Okay, so well, that if that explains why the tracker was put on the car initially.
Yeah,
the car was then pulled over, and I believe 3 officers spoke to Sister Mary, the
Sent
EMT,
Ronnie an email
and
about it.
The other gentleman here. Am I correct?
Yeah.
Sorry, Your Honor, I didn't mean to say it.
And as you can see on the video, when I see them at the church, you can see the EMT having his hands up on his head. Basically, when you go somewhere free will, by your free will, you don't put your hands up on your top of your head. That was a red flag for me that something is going on.
Can I say something, Your Honor?
Mr. Myers?
We also do have the EMT's testimony after he was kidnapped, where he tells everything that happened. And
all right.
he was
well, this is just. I'm getting to that. When you pulled the car over, and the 3 gentlemen were spoken to by the 3 officers. All right. What was the result of that? What did that EMT say? Was he kidnapped? Was he not kidnapped?
Your Honor.
Mr. Pickering.
The actual stop, when they stopped, like I say, we didn't make any assumptions at the time. So I asked Officer Myers to stay with the vehicle. Cyrus stayed actually in the vehicle on his drone. I was the only person to actually go and talk to the people at the time.
All right, and what did they say to you?
I simply asked. I spoke to them, and we were discussing that there was just a report. And in the end, what happened, they were all saying no, they were just going around on a tour on a fun little drive. I said, well, I mentioned that the EMT was wanted back at work, the other EMT was worried, and we asked if the EMT could just come with us, go talk to his fellow EMT, and if it was fine, everything's good. The EMT then just came with us, they didn't make any issues, they just let him walk with us, and we drove off.
And at that point, did the EMT make any allegations against Sister Mary about any sort of kidnap?
May I say something, Your Honor?
Just let him answer the question first, please, Mr. Myers.
I don't think he knows.
Well, I was, like I say, I was driving the vehicle at the time. What I can say, and I don't want to sound like I'm quoting this, because this is something that the actual crime did happen, or not the crime, the issue that we're talking about happened 2 weeks ago. The EMT at first didn't want to say something. We felt that he had something he wanted to say, and he felt like he was in danger. We attempted to reassure him and take him and let him know that no harm would come to him, and we would listen to him. That was when he started talking a bit more, which, for any actual information past that he did actually release, one Officer Myers himself might be able to answer. But like I say, I was focusing more on the road than the person talking.
So at this point, the EMT is with you, and these two were away, free and clear, in the white Escalade. Is that correct?
We turned around and headed back towards the EMT base. I believe they went off in the opposite direction. Like I say, I just drove them back to the EMT base. The EMTs joined back together, and from my perspective, I then returned back to the main HQ, and that was where my shift.
Okay, so this is right. So again, this is all based on theory and conjecture at this point. So, one more time. The drone footage of Sister Mary's Escalade leaving the traffic stop is still unaccounted for.
Once I lock on a vehicle, I don't need to, continuously myself manually follow it. Right. As you can see on the video, for 2 hours, my camera, one of my drone is following Charles for 2 hours.
Okay.
Wherever he goes.
And that video that you provided, the footage shows the drone that was chasing Mr. Marley, does it not?
Yeah, one of them is chasing Mr. Marley. That's the who is in
and,
the taxi.
And that's what your footage shows, is the drone that was chasing Mr. Marley.
Yeah, well then I have to skip a little bit forward and check the other drone.
And at what point did you check the other drone?
I check them pretty regularly, forward and backward.
Yeah.
Them.
At what timestamp did you check the drone that was following Sister Mary, or Sister Mary's vehicle? Sorry.
Should be on the evidence provided on the links.
At what timestamp?
Twitch isn't working for me at the moment, so you have to check those videos.
The time you wasn't monitoring the damn drones, you didn't keep track of where I went. Plain and simple. We're still here for no reason.
Isn't it? Isn't it? I know his location. I know his location.
Go ahead, PD.
Do not ask. Do not ask. Do not ask. Do not ask his location.
Just be quiet.
Okay.
Can you just go back to main? Keep going to EMT, like I said.
Something seems off.
The EMT is by Charles. We're just passing the EMT to our left side.
Sorry, you were cutting out there.
Sorry, we've got your EMT. We're going to bring him back to main HQ. He's had a fall and a little bit bloody, so when you get a chance, if you can head that way as well.
Okay, this is where we have a problem, because I can see from that video that once you had located Mr. Marley, you became fixated on him, and at that point, you were not watching the drone that was tracking Sister Mary. Is that a fair assessment?
Yes, I was now following her continuously with my eyes.
Okay, so what you're saying is that your drone was following her car, but at any point when you weren't watching it, she could have gotten out of that vehicle, and I don't know. Just let's just say, for sake of argument, another nun could have gotten into that vehicle. Maybe it's a communal vehicle that's used by the convent. I don't know, but your evidence does not show a continuous track of that vehicle from the point when it left the traffic stop to the point where the suspect in the nun's outfit showed up at PD and started shooting up the drones.
On that part, my drone was locked on Mr. Hag, I believe.
All right, so that's evidence against Mr. Hashtag and not against Sister Mary.
And during that 4 hours of the incident where the drones are following, these two were almost with each other all the time. Even when she changed outfit and came to PD to claim that her vehicles were stolen.
You're just talking. You don't have no evidence of this.
Your Honor.
You're just
Mr.
assuming.
Pickering. Quiet, please.
If I could just state from a PD perspective, we've answered all the questions we can. Like I say, we were called in at a very last minute to answer anything here. At the original, like I stated at the beginning, how we felt about the case, we are more than willing to sort this case out by whatever means that you call today. We're obviously here to answer from a CLPD perspective.
Okay,
we don't have anything more we can say because of that.
Right. Well, we're going to be in recess for about 5 minutes, so I'm going to have a little look at all this.
You want to ride back, I guess? Wake up. Wake up. Wake up.
I'm awake.
Oh. I'm sorry you went to sleep.
Alright, small break.
Judd, could I have a chat with you?
Give me 2 minutes.
No problems. I'll just wait here for you.
Oh, they make me tired with their. I admit their gassing and shit.
Which officer is supposed to be guarding the front doors?
Fuck the CLPD. They screw up and they know it.
David was here, but I'm now in front.
Copy, just make sure we have someone posted here.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
copy.
a
I just
great
obviously
song
didn't want people coming in and out.
for the
you know.
choir. Let's get some.
Can we just
fresh
fucking
air.
get on? I just want to get on to the next court case already, dude.
Are you alright?
I just want to get on to the next fucking court case and
Oh
get this
shit!
shit over with.
Wait, just in front of the entrance.
You alright? Yeah, come outside.
Yeah. Yeah.
How's it feels like to fuck up?
You good? Well, we had it. We had it ready. It wasn't the problem.
Oh, Officer David. Oh, yeah. Oh.
That was the problem.
I have to deal with you later on, Officer David.
I just want to hear whatever you have to say, sister, so we can get that portion over with. No, I mean whatever have to, with the next case that you believe I'll be wearing a red checkered hat after. Well, what you think specifically is in store for me.
Hello.
Mr. Snow, what can I do for you?
They're trying to power game to the fucking height of their ability.
Wait one.
And I know for fine fact you've seen that as well.
That's right, Officer Toupee.